This is a special episode for week 5 of the NFL season. I'm your host, Tamika Williams, and we have Tommy Scott and Sammy Wells. Tommy and Sammy will be picking week 5 in the NFL season. So we do have New York and Atlanta. And which do you think will win? So we're going to start off with Tommy.
That's
What do you think?
that's a tough one. This is the game that's between Jets and Falcons that they're over in London playing there. And on the one hand, Jets have a much better defense than the Falcons have an offense. But Falcons are a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more poised for that level of travel and disruption because nobody's playing at home. But I picked the Jets just because they got a better defense than the Falcons offense. So going New York on this one.
You know what? I would say that I would pick the Jets, but I have to give it to Atlanta. I mean, I can't go against Matt Ryan going against a rookie quarterback. I mean, I understand the Jets beat the Titans last week. I mean, really surprised everybody. And hey, they had their maybe that was their game of the season. But I don't think they have two games in the
It was that.
season.
Hey, they already got they won.
Yeah, they already got their one for the season. I don't think they got two in them, but hey, I'm going to pick Atlanta on this because I think Matt Ryan is going to be able to beat the rookie quarterback.
All
It's
right.
possible. It's possible.
All right. So next on the list is Green Bay and Cincinnati. So what are your thoughts on that?
Green Bay and Cincinnati. I think I'm going to go with the guy that wears the jersey number 12, Aaron Rodgers, because I just think after that Saints New Orleans Saints game, I mean the Packers are rolling, and I don't think they are going to lose another game. I mean, I don't know. Cincinnati could come and beat them, and you just never know. You just never know. But as hot as the Packers are playing right now, I don't think they're going to lose this game.
I agree. I see this one being Packers all the way. I mean, the Bengals have they're playing at home, so they got that going for them. But that's the beginning and the end of that train. Yeah, Packers are going to win this one. That's my pick, and it's not even. It won't be like a huge blowout, but this will be one of those games where the Packers are just going to be in the driver's seat throughout, and the Bengals are going to do the best they can, but they're not coming out on top on this one.
Okay. So
Oh please! I think Aaron Rodgers during the game. I think it's going to be a blowout, and then Aaron Rodgers is going to have time in the fourth quarter to perfect his music career, just like he's been doing in the commercials.
Mm-hmm. Hey, he'll probably check and make sure his discounted insurance rates are still live and in color. So
Yeah.
it'll be good. It'll be good. But yeah, still Packers win.
all right. So how about the Detroit and Minnesota? That's next on the list.
I'm picking Detroit just so that they can get a one in the win column. Um, just come on, Detroit. Let's go. Let's get a win. Let's get a win. You can do it.
Uh, I mean, Kirk Cousins and um, Golf. Really, when you're picking this game, it's kind of just like, eh, you
Somebody
know,
has to lose. I mean,
yeah,
it's just
somebody
somebody
has to
has to
lose.
lose.
Right, somebody has to lose, and Detroit was playing good in the beginning of the season, but I don't know.
No,
Uh,
hey, wait, no. Remember, actually, that's wrong because they can tie now, right? So maybe this just goes down as a draw. We get to the end of the game, nobody can win the game. It just goes down as a tie.
and I'm going to go with I'm going to go with I'm going to go with golf. So I'm going to go for with Detroit too. So
Detroit. Okay. And
Detroit.
so next one is Denver and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, this was a little bit more complicated, just a little bit. If Teddy's cleared to play, Broncos win pretty easily. I think that I just don't see the Steelers doing much this year because I think Ben is done. But I think he's not. I'm not even sure if he's playing this week. But Broncos still have a more complete team than the Steelers do. Teddy practiced yesterday, full go, so we'd expect him to play. And if he's playing, they definitely win. If not, Steelers got a chance, but I still see the Broncos coming out on top.
I'm actually going to pick the Steelers. Nope. I'm actually going to pick the Steelers on this one because I just believe in Mike Tomlin, and I just think that Mike Tomlin is a great head coach, and I think that he has I mean, I think he has the speech, the motivation speech to motivate them to beat the Broncos. I mean, yes, the Broncos defense is very good, um, but you know, I still I have to go with the Steelers. I have to go with the Steelers on this one.
Okay, well, that'll be an
Find
interesting
out.
game. Can't wait to see who comes out on top with that one. So the next one is Miami and Tampa Bay.
Bucks, Bucks, Bucks. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I don't. Yeah, just yeah. Can't bet against Brady on this one.
Just
Bucks,
the Bucks hands down.
Bucks, hands down.
Sammy?
I think I'm going to go with Miami. I'm sorry. Yes, the Bucks. Yes, the Bucks are the favorite to win this game. I definitely understand, but I think that Miami's defense um, can will be able to hold Brady until the third quarter. And I'm hoping that they hold them into the fourth quarter too. But I don't know. I'm gonna go with Miami on this one. I think head coach Flores is a good coach. I think their defense is okay. I mean, um, Tampa Bay's defense has not been the greatest. People can throw on it. Dak Prescott threw 400 yards on it. Matthew Stafford threw about 300 and something yards on it. So I'm gonna go with the Dolphins.
Okay. Tommy, you look like you disagree. You have any words on that?
Yeah, well, that's one of those like and somehow the Buccaneers keep winning. They dropped for one, and even last week, the Patriots defense isn't exactly a slouch, and Brady had pretty much the worst game he's had in the past several games going back to last year, and they still managed to pull that one out. I just don't see it, continuing. But
Because of a missed kick.
hey, hey, don't put yourself in a position where a missed kick matters.
True that, but I'm just saying, hey, you know what? I'm going with
And
the
it wasn't
underdog.
even just a miss. It was like the dong. It was like boom. I mean, every big miss kick this season has come with that damn sound. Can you imagine being the kicker? You're like, okay, it's all on me. Kick it, and it's not even that you missed. You hear that bong. You're like, really? You had to amplify it for me? Like you couldn't just say you didn't make it. That'd been fine.
Patriots fans is like, yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
All right, so next up is New Orleans and Washington.
Washington. I'm going with the football team.
I'm going with New Orleans. The reason I'm going with New Orleans because the New Orleans defense. I think New Orleans defense get just when they're winning because they were winning, beating the Giants. They were beating the Giants and stuff, and then they slacked off and they took a break. So I'm thinking they're going to rebound from losing to the Giants, who was not a winning team, because that was embarrassing, especially being in New Orleans. And I think that Jameis is going to pull this one in, actually have a good game this time, and finish the game this time. I think the New Orleans defense is still a good defense. I think the offense is what it is. I think,
And you said
hopefully
that
Jameis.
you had mentioned that they slacked off. Was that during the game or is that up until this point?
No, they slacked off during the game, their last game against the Giants, when they were ahead, and they just did not put the how you would say it, put their foot on the accelerator and continue to stomp them. They let them come back, tie it in the fourth quarter, and then the Giants won in overtime. So they need to. I think they need to rebound, and they're going to beat the Washington team. They don't even have a name. So they're going to beat the Washington team, and I'm going to be happy for that, because they're a division rival, and I want my division rivals to lose.
Okay. And Tommy, you had
It
mentioned
happened.
Washington, but you didn't say why. Nope.
The Saints are on their way down. The Saints is working their way back to being the Aints, and Washington's on their way up. They're playing in Washington, and Saints have struggled against, with the exception of Week 1, right? They've been struggling against that ball in the air, and Washington's been throwing the ball pretty good. So I still expect to see Washington win this one, and Sam will be upset, but sometimes you got to own your dinners. Cowboys can't have everybody do it for them. They're going to have to go out there and win this one outright. They ain't getting no help this year.
We'll take care of our division rivals like we took
There
care
you
of the
go.
Eagles. But hey,
There you
I have to say this. You believe in Heineken? What's his name? I said Heineken. What's his name? What is the one?
I want to hear you keep trying. I want to hear you keep trying.
You believe in their quarterback? You believe in their quarterback?
I believe that he's been getting stuff done. I mean, it's like when you compare him to Winston, it's like he's got more yards per game. He's got, basically he's got more or less touchdowns, more interceptions. But you're talking about 7-3 versus 8-2. But you're still looking at 150 yards per game versus 260, 270. And it's like that's where they've been. It's like he's young, he's gonna make his mistakes. The Saints will have their opportunities, but the problem is they're not playing the Saints, or the Saints offense isn't playing Washington's offense. It's the other way around, right? So Washington's playing the Saints defense, and I think that's going to be the problem.
Okay. Oh, that's the reason I didn't remember his name, because he's not doing anything. So, but whatever. But
He's won a couple games, so it seems to be doing something.
Oh, really? I think that they beat the Giants on a questionable call at the end of the game, and where they got a second chance to kick the field goal. So, yeah, I'm going with the Saints. Saints are going to who that.
All right. So we're going to move on. The next one is Philadelphia versus Carolina.
Carolina.
Definitely Carolina.
You both agree Carolina? Okay. So why not Philadelphia?
Because
too many struggles.
Yeah, I think that
Is
one of their
it their
defense.
coach? Do they have a poor coach?
Well, no, their defense. Some of their players on defense is injured, like Graham. Their quarterback, Hurts. He's a great quarterback. Let me say all the positive things about the quarterback. He is a great quarterback. He went from Alabama to Oklahoma, and now in the NFL. He kicked Winston, that was supposed to be the future of the Eagles organization, out of the way. and now he's the starter. So Hurts is a great quarterback. He just wasn't a great quarterback when he played my Dallas Cowboys because of our defense. Now, him going against the Panthers, I think the Panthers they were the number one defense coming into when they played Dallas, and Dallas eliminated that. But I still think that their defense is good enough to stop the Eagles. Maybe not to stop because the Eagles are not a high power offense. They're not a high power offense. They beat Atlanta 32-6 or something in the first game, but it was Atlanta. So I mean, but I will say this: I think that I think Panthers are going to win this game because their defense, and then they're looking to rebound from losing to the Cowboys.
Okay.
Yep.
And you have the same reasons, Tommy? As to why
Yeah,
you
just I mean, in general, the Panthers are just a more complete team. It's like I think Sam hit the nail on the head there, where it's like, when you think of the Eagles, you think it hurts. I mean, there's other folks there, but like that is the big draw right now. That's what's keeping them, where they are and making everything kind of possible. But when you get the Panthers, they just got too many ways to go, too many things to do to cause people problems. So I just don't think the Eagles are going to be able to contain it, their offense. So I just see the Panthers offense beating the Eagles defense.
Okay. All right. So next on the list is Tennessee versus Jacksonville.
Henry. I just see this with Derrick Henry just kind of run Jacksonville into the ground.
Yeah.
It's gonna be it's just gonna be like, give him the ball, 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 give him he's tired, he needs a break. So, we're gonna get like 3rd down and 12. He's back, give him the ball, 1st down, and that's what the game's gonna look like for the Jaguars as Urban Meyer contemplates where the next dance is coming from.
Well, I would say this, that I think Tennessee, because I mean honestly Jacksonville this week has been under the whole scrutiny of their head coach, of him dancing with another woman and not his wife at his own bar. I mean, and
You feel that will affect the outcome of the game?
I mean, I don't think they were focused. I don't think they're focused on the game. They're more focused on him dancing with another woman that wasn't his wife, and him going on an apology tour. When honestly, I understand that what he did was wrong. I definitely understand. I am not defending that. I'm just saying that this week was not focused on football. He should have went back with the team, focused on the team, because his team has not won a game at all. I could see if you was at your own bar and you were celebrating because you guys won, but you didn't win. You lost. And make it matter, you wasn't dancing with your wife, you was dancing with somebody else. And, it's none of our business as far as what he does outside or whatever. That is with the family, his family, to forgive him and everything else. It's not with us to, but I just think they haven't been focusing on football. They've been focusing on their head coach personal affairs.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, especially when you look at, the plan was for him not to return with the team so that he could go and take care of, essentially personal matters, there. That's like, I get it. It's a long season. It's a job. It's all that kind of stuff. But if your mind, I don't know how you get your mind to where you're like, okay, after the game, I'm going to go, take care of some stuff. I haven't been here in a while. I'm going to deal with this. And how even for last week, your mind gives the attention that it needs given the level of play that you're after. And given that, we know very well that, with the news, everything else, some of the stuff that's coming out where, players are having a little bit of fun with it in practice, which is great, but it's still a matter of the attention isn't on football. It's on what their head coach was doing. So, but even without that, I still see the Titans come in there and run the ball right down their throats. The Jaguars just aren't strong enough to deal with that.
Most definitely, yeah, most definitely. I'm just saying that they haven't been focused on football. They've been focused on their head coach personal affairs.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
Okay, so the next one, New England versus Houston.
I mean,
New England. I'm picking New England. I think Belichick, rebounds from last week, which was, close. And I think they're both 1-3. But I think when you look at New England, you see a team that really isn't a 1-3 team. And when you look at Houston, there's still just a lack of cohesion there, which they could get, right? They could click and things come together, but given their own off the field drama that they're, dealing with at the moment, they look like a 1-3 team for lack of a better thing. So I go with New England. What do you think, Sam?
I'm actually going to go with Houston. The reason why is because I don't think Mac Jones is. I think Mac Jones is a good player. But I just think he's a rookie, and I think the defense is going to rattle him just like New Orleans rattled him. So um, I think that the offense can be able to get off the ground with Brandon with them throwing the ball to Brandon Cooks, and hopefully Ingram is going to get started as far as the running game, as far as for the offense for Houston. Um, but I'm gonna pick Houston. I know it's more favored for New England to win this, but I'm gonna go with Houston.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right, so next on the list is Chicago and Las Vegas.
Raiders.
Which one?
They're playing at home. It's going to be an exciting game. But I got friends that are, going to be at the game tomorrow. Other friends that went out there and got suites. Not even suites. They rented out the poolside cabana things over there at the MGM so they can watch the game. But and they're all Chicago fans. So, but given I mean the Raiders are a good team. They're streaky, right? If you catch them on a bad day for them, then that could work out. But I don't see Chicago being able to come in and do much. And I just see I see the Raiders kind of doing what they've been doing, where even if it's a close game, they'll figure it out. But I just think their offense will be on the efficient side tomorrow, and is going to kind of win this one through chewing up the clock and putting points on the board.
I would have picked the Raiders. I would have picked the Raiders if there wasn't another personal affair that is going to bother their locker room as far as John Gruden, because of what came out Friday as far as what he said about Mr. Smith, the director of the NFL, one of the directors of the NFL. When he sent that email as far as describing him and his features. I just think that after that story came out, there's going to probably be a lot of players on the Raiders that are going to look at their head coach just with a really, like a really thing. So, also, I mean, I'm going to take the Bears in this one. Not because I believe in Matt Nagy and what he's doing over there in Chicago, but I'm hoping that the rookie quarterback Justin Fields actually has a good game against the Raiders. Um, um, he's at least due one. Um, if the Raiders are not, you know, dealing with the affairs of their head coach and them saying stuff that can um,
You feel that they'll be too distracted?
disrupt the locker room, Well, I mean, I think that the when it came out Friday, as far as the John Gruden and his racist comments and what he said about about Mr. Smith and the director of one of the directors of the NFL, I think it's just I just think it's another controversy that's going to shake up the locker room, and a lot of the um, black players are going to look at John Gruden just like, really? You said that about somebody? You said that about a person? Really? So, I mean,
I doubt it. I think that's a controversy for everybody on the outside, but in the locker room, I believe that line that he said, "Oh, and by the way, 10 years ago" in an email, is kind of one of those where it was like, well, hell, we've had worse jokes than that, and that was yesterday for the guy down the hall, you know. So it's like that's kind of one of those low rent. That's media doing media stuff. They could, but I got a funny feeling if what they're worried about is John Gruden saying that about another person and all the connotation that comes with it. Um, Either you've seen it since it's been there for a couple of years now, and a lot of guys that have been around that long have been with him. And so either you've seen that before and you're already aware of it, or at some point it clicks in your mind, you're like, well, let's see, an email from 10 years ago or the past, 6 months that I've been with the guy, right?
mhm.
So I mean, and given the fact that the Raiders kind of have a reputation for being a little on the rough side, not on the colorful metaphor aspects, and that's what I'm saying. Not that they shouldn't. I'm just saying, when you look at the everything else that's likely going on over there internally, this is likely to be low rent.
I will say this. I mean, if it, I think that it prompted when the story came out Friday. It prompted the owner on the NFL to make a statement. It prompted John Gruden to make a statement. So, if the owner didn't make a statement and John Gruden had made the statement saying, "Hey, this and that," it would have not mattered. And now, not only that, the NFL is now investigating and seeing if they are going to be able to find the head coach too. So it's just like, all right, if John Gruden came out and just said, "Hey, you know what? I apologize and everything," and the owner did not say anything, then I would be like, okay, well, this is something that they're going to brush under the rug. But even owner of the Raiders came out and said, "Hey, we do not believe in the principles of what he said," and da da da. And then John Gruden came out and said it, and then the NFL, who he said about, made a statement about the situation, and now the NFL is going to be investigating the whole situation. So it just sounds like going into this game, it's going to be a lot of distractions around the Raiders, and I'm just saying it could um, take their focus off.
No, and I get that. I'm just saying that all those distractions, I just don't think that those permeate into the team and into the locker room, because everything that you just said, the owner saying something, him saying something, those are all basically your standard playbook reaction. What you do after anything like this comes up today. You can expect any of it. If it comes out, this is what you do. It's the same things that happened with guys that were drafted, right? These are young men, kids, if you will, drafted out of college into the NFL. And sometime when they were in a junior in high school, they said something stupid on Twitter. So the
Mhm.
drafting team says, well, we spoke to him. We really don't think that represents his values. He says, well, this really doesn't represent my values. I've learned, the NFL says this. It's just standard reaction stuff. And, even the fine thing, it's like, when you look at that spot where, they like to leave this out in the news of something that happened 10 years ago, which
Right.
was Gruden even coaching in the NFL 10 years ago?
No, ESPN. He was
And
ESPN.
so it's like, with some of it, it's kind of like, I fully expect that this is in the same breath of brushing it under the rug, but we need to make it look like we're doing something so that people believe we're doing something. But it's, for the most part, much ado about nothing. Because if they fine him $1 million, do you think he's going to lose any sleep over that? Because I'm pretty sure he's not. Now, if they
Uh-huh.
came in and said you're suspended for 6 games, but they're not talking about that. They're just like, well, we're going to investigate it and see if if there's a fine in there and things like that. So and that's what I mean. It's like this is something for folks on the outside to talk about, but inside, internal, it's just one of those things where I could not imagine this being basically on their minds based on the myriad of other things that we can pretty much assume and probably safely assume that he's like actually like done like in person, live in color, like he did it on Thursday, not 10 years ago. And
Right.
like what I'm getting after is I'm
Right.
absolutely certain that he's said way worse live and in color way more recently. And so
Right.
if he hasn't, maybe I'm wrong and you're right, but I'm like I have a hard time seeing Gruden not doing it.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Okay, well, that will definitely be another interesting game. I can't wait to see who wins that one. So the next one is Cleveland versus Los Angeles.
That's a tough one. The Chargers are looking good, and so is Cleveland.
Okay. Okay. So wait a minute. Okay. Well, Cleveland's defense is looking good, not their offense. Okay. The Chargers' offense and defense is both looking good. So, I mean,
Hey,
to me, it's an
it's the
easy
same.
pick. To me, it's an
It was
easy
the
pick.
same thing last year. A lot of folks had that easy pick where the Browns' defense was looking good, but not their offense, and there they were again at the end of the year, where missed it by that much. But I still I give the nod to the Chargers on this one, but this is gonna be close.
No. I don't believe in Baker Mayfield. I think he's not playing with I think he's not playing with a chip on his shoulder. See, this is the thing about Baker Mayfield. It's kind of weird. So his first year when he came into the NFL, he had a great season. Went into his second season, had a horrible season. Then went into his third season, had a great season. Now he's in his fourth season, and now it's just like um, he's going back to, oh well, I had a great season last year, so no chip on my shoulder no more. He plays better when he has a chip on his shoulder.
This is true. I give you that one. He does play better when he feels like he's playing, that role, but he still managed to get to 3-1. And those players, like those teams that keep managing to win somehow, bother me immensely because, hey, if you got to choose between luck and skill, you take luck every single time because luck just seems to, no matter what your skill is, you seem to have a hard time dealing with luck, and that's one of them crazy things. And the fact that you're sitting in a spot where you're 3-1, you've got room for improvement, but you're 3-1. You don't have the pressure that comes with 1-3, for instance, right? Because you're 3-1. Those teams start to click, but and it's like this is where it would change. If they were playing in Cleveland, then I would say Cleveland, but they're not. They're playing in Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
and I see the Chargers not only given the game that they had last week, they're going to come off a high and they're going to run it here. And I just think they keep that momentum rolling and they win. But it's not going to be like a 42-6 game.
And you mentioned something interesting. Do you both feel that when they play outside of their hometown that makes a difference?
Yeah, it does, but it just depends on where they are playing. I mean, in this case, if the Chargers hadn't have won last week and like that one got away and Raiders came back and won, then I would kind of look at it and go like, well, Cleveland's got a good shot because the momentum isn't there. But when you win like that, um, you just that momentum keeps rolling. And where they're coming into is a place that I think it's a much more controlled environment weather-wise, so they won't have that to aid them at all. And it's you got a team that's already rolling a winning high, and they're going to keep right on rolling that right through home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I would say this. Then Baker is a good game manager then, because his defense has been carrying him to that 3-1. Not him, the defense.
Okay. All right, so the next one might be a lot more exciting. It's New York and Dallas. What do you think will win between those two?
Of course, it's going to be Dallas. Okay, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. You know, I'm gonna take away the bias that I have for the Cowboys. Let's just be real. Let's look at the Dallas Cowboys, okay? So honestly, the Dallas Cowboys should be 4-0 because the referees didn't call that offensive pass interference on Chris Godwin, and they went toe to toe with the champs. Okay. The second thing is that Dallas offense is a lot better, way better than they've been playing way better. The offensive line is playing amazing, amazing, and they've been able to run with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. A lot of people like to call them lightning and thunder, and being able to move the ball and not put so much on Dak as far as throwing the ball. When Dak has to throw the ball, he is so efficient with his receivers, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. And then also, we have to give it up for the defense. Last year, our defense sucked. And so this year, our defense, I mean, they are getting after the ball. They are number one as far as the turnover in the NFL. They're number one in the NFL as far as turnovers. And Trayvon Diggs is 5 interception, player of the month. Player of the week. I don't see just because they came back on the Saints. The Giants came back on the Saints. Don't think that's going to happen with the Dallas Cowboys because we're not going to take our foot off the gas because we learned last week taking our foot off the gas against the Panthers, they almost came back and we only won by 8. So Dallas is going to learn from last week and then definitely put that heat on the New York Little Giants.
Okay. And Tommy? Are you still on? Uh-oh.
There we go. Nah, I agree. I don't know what this is one of those like, Sam, you got a big old long explanation for the Cowboys going to beat the brakes off the Giants. There you go. How does that sound? It's like this is one of those, they're like, oh, it won't be a blowout. No, this is going to be a blowout. The Cowboys are going to beat the brakes off of them. Like this game will be over before you get to halftime. Like that. Giant, I give this one. They'll come out, like the first time they get the ball at offense, they're going to look legit. It's going to look like, oh, this is going to be a game. And that'll pretty much be the last that you see. They just want to be like, well, we could if we were trying. Yeah, that's it. If we were trying. But Cowboys.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's going to be the Cowboys.
All right, that'll be another interesting game. The next one should be just as interesting. San Francisco and Arizona.
Well, Sam, go ahead.
Okay,
I haven't heard the last that I saw. I haven't heard, either way that they're basically going to say, whether Jimmy's going to be in a spot where he can start or sit, or if it's going to be Lance. So, it's that I think is going to matter. But I think on both sides, either one of those has positives and negatives. Obviously, I think this is, I don't want to say a must win, but this is one of those games for the Niners where if you don't win, you are digging yourself into a hole that is going to be really, really hard to get out of because none of the teams in the NFC West are light. I say this is the year that whoever finishes dead last in the NFC West is still going to basically be one of the better teams in the NFL. Not top 10 better, but definitely not in the bottom half. All of these teams are strong and they're tough, but they're all playing each other. We saw with the Rams and the Seahawks. Those are big physical teams. The Niners got to play all of them. The Seahawks one more time, got to play everybody else twice. So, however, I think the Niners can win. They typically played the Cardinals competitively, even in Arizona. So I expect to keep seeing that. And I'm going to pick the Niners for this one because, why not? Plus, I think the Niners are in a position where some of the guys coming back, where they get their hopefully get their running game back more solid, and I think that changes that dynamics of who they are and what they do. So, and we might put your theory to test, Sam. We might find out exactly what that offense looks like when it's somebody else back there at the helm. So we'll find out.
Do you feel that they might have a lack of motivation?
No, they're definitely motivated. Motivation for both of these teams, like the Cardinals in a spot they haven't been in this position in years, so they're living on cloud nine, where it's like, hey, we are standing on top of the NFC West all by ourselves, and if we win, we can stay here. If not, then we share the spot. Niners are in that spot where they've already dropped one conference game, so winning one puts you at 1-1. Put you in a nice spot where you're at least, even with Seattle, they get the nod because they won on the head-to-head, but it still keeps them in the running. Where, this is one of those where you start falling two games back in the division, and it's a big road because you've got other teams that you have to play, obviously, but you're looking at teams between Arizona, Seattle, and the Rams that any one of those teams could be in a position to not lose another or any division games, right? Anybody could be in that spot. I mean, the Niners, all four teams are in that spot where there's no slouch that you can look past. So every one of these games is mission critical.
Okay, and Sammy?
Okay. Well, I'm going to shock Tommy here, and I'm actually going to pick the Niners to win this game. Or as I call them, the whiners. I would say this. Okay, so if it was said that Jimmy is not playing because Jimmy is going to be out for a few weeks because of his knee situation, or ankle. Is it a knee or ankle?
It is a contusion basically on his lower leg, so it's supposed to be somewhere in that magic. Like, I love contusion. It's basically a big bruise. A bunch of stuff got hurt and damaged between his knee and his toes.
Okay. So if Shanahan had a week to prepare Trey Lance to be able to go against Arizona, I'm going to put my money on Shanahan prepping Trey Lance for what's going to happen and developing a playbook for him, because I don't count the Seattle game, because he was playing for Jimmy and he wasn't playing Jimmy for getting hurt. But now that he has had a week to be able to prepare Trey Lance for this game and put out a playbook that is going to work for him, because as I said on this show many episodes ago, that if Shanahan, I believe it's Shanahan, if he's the best coach for this kid to be able to go out and
you've actually said that on several episodes, including the one last week. You said that one then too.
Okay, so I believe.
And I agree. So here's one of the things with Lance. If Lance is playing at the helm, it gives that's one where it's like, it's not even a question. I would imagine that the Niners win, and they win, not handily, but driver's seat win, because one, as you said, coach, he's going to have his own system around him. It's a system that nobody's seen before. You can assume what it might be, you can guess, but nobody's really seen what the Niners look like when it is a Lance team, not a Lance in for Jimmy team, right? So, and as we've seen before, that he's not He's not bad. He's not somebody that you look over. It does add a certain dynamic for the Niners that, as you saw, where they've used him in there, where run in, get a touchdown. I saw that. It just adds that one little wrinkle for a moment that throws teams off. And so now him coming in for a whole game, it's going to be a whole lot of those wrinkles. And Arizona's defense is going to have to play almost perfect to really be able to adapt to that and handle it. So I think, I think you're right. I think it goes there. If it does go well, and things, the question is going to come into the long-term spot. And, we've seen this with the Niners before when we go back to, Alex and Cap, where Alex got hurt. Cap came in. Nobody was really ready for that. He had a lot of success over a couple of years. As things settled in and they needed a bigger skill set from him, there was a little bit of struggles there, some from injury, and then, the obvious never getting a chance to really rebound from that and recover and show. And also no longer having, because with Harbaugh is one of those coaches that, much like Shanahan, he's a quarterback whisperer, right? He gets that into the quarterback. So Lance could be in that spot to kind of repeat the same level of success, but hopefully Shanahan still can be there longer to do that. But time will tell. I mean, it'll be interesting to see, how this one runs. It's going to be, it'll be fun to watch, because any way you cut it, you'll get, at least at a minimum, a glimpse of what 49ers are looking at as their future.
Yeah. Well, like I said, he's the best coach for the job for this kid. And if he had a week to prepare, since he had a week to prepare him for this team, I just think that the 49ers are going to come out, and it's going to just be a shocker, because Arizona is coming off of this undefeated, not losing a game, and they may be on their high horse, but I just think that, Trey Lance, as I've been stating, that they need to put him in, and Shanahan need to develop a playbook for him. And if they do, and it's gonna be a good thing. So I'm going with the Niners.
And make no mistake, he's had the playbook developed for him. Like that's been there since the day after, probably even before they drafted him. He had that in the works. Now they just had a week to practice it and almost practice it in exclusivity. So I agree. Rock and roll. We're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Okay. And so moving on to the next one is Buffalo and Kansas City.
I'm gonna go. Bear with me on this one. I'm gonna go with Buffalo. There's a reason why. I want Buffalo to win because I want Kansas City to lose. And the reason why I want Kansas City to lose is because right now they've got these two losses on them where they think we might just be human. We may have to pick up our urgency. We may have to start taking this seriously. And they're taking it seriously now. They might need to start taking this seriously, as in we've got to go out here and get what we want. We're not just going to automatically be given it because we show up and we're good. We got to do that last half an inch. We've got to put in the work to do that. If the Bills beat them, it will remove that doubt of we might be human. They will understand we are human, and we are going to have to give all 100% and 110%, all that stuff. We've got to put it all out there to get what we want. They do that, it'll likely be one of the last times we see them lose the entire year. But if they don't do that, their little issues have kind of, and there's other ones there, but just as a team, they kind of have let up and not been able to do that, that final grab to hit the gas all the way to the end of the game. I think if they win, which they could, all things considered, they should win. But if they win this, we will see this poke its head back up, come into November, beginning of December, where they'll go through another game or two of, we relaxed a little bit too much. If they lose, I just don't see them relaxing again until the end of the season. So I'm going to go with Buffalo.
Okay. Sammy?
I would I would go with Buffalo because I think Buffalo wants to get revenge from Kansas City from last year in the playoffs. Um, but I just think that Kansas City losing to the Chargers and well, losing to the Ravens.
Yeah.
Those were two good teams. Those are two good teams. And so is Buffalo. Buffalo is a good team. I just think that Patrick Mahomes is going to pull it out. I'm rooting for Buffalo to win, but I think Patrick Mahomes is going. They're going to take this serious because they don't want to have three losses.
Right.
It's early in the season.
No, I would hope they do. I just know that, like I said, if they win, we'll see this little slide again. I don't think it'll either way. I think they still make it to the playoffs, and I think they'll do well there. But if they lose, if Buffalo wins this one, I'd even go as far as saying that'll be the last time that Kansas City loses this year.
Yeah.
Because I think Kansas City's issues are all up here. If they get their heads right, I just see them as one of those teams that, there's not much you can do except for hope that, they make a mistake. When you have to beat a team based on their mistakes, it's a lot harder than when you can beat a team based on just what you do. And Kansas City is a team where if their head's in it, everybody's together, if they beat a team just on what they do, they don't need them to make mistakes. But their head hasn't been in it. So they've got to overcome themselves and the other team. And that's much harder to do, it turns out. Who knew?
Yeah.
So you feel that they're too disorganized right now to be able to win?
I think their minds are just they've lost. There's a bit of hunger that's been lost, and it's not even it's still there. They still have a desire and a passion. It's just there seems to be almost a sense of entitlement that we can and will get these things, rather than never mind can and will. We're just going to take them.
Okay. All right, so it looks like the last one will be Indianapolis and Baltimore.
G. Let's see. Oh, and they're playing in Baltimore. The Ravens. I think the Ravens will win this. I think the Ravens win. I just think the Ravens wins. I think Lamar Jackson is going to have one of those games with 100 yards rushing and like 300 yards in the air, and it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be like, did you guys watch film? Like that's going to be the question at the end of this, is whether or not the Colts watched film on the Ravens over the past couple of years, because it seemed like they didn't know who they were playing against. That's what I think this is going to look like.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I would say this. I think that I'm going to go with Baltimore too, because I just think that right now the Ravens are playing great football. I think that the Ravens defense is going to get to Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz is going to turn into the quarterback he was when he played against the Dallas Cowboy defense when it was good. So,
well, the other question, here's a bigger one, I think, that's more important than who's going to win the game, is will Carson Wentz make it through the entire game?
You would hope. Yeah, you're going to hope that he does. I think
we hope, but history.
Carson Wentz is one tough football player.
That he is. He is very tough. He is a tough guy. I don't see him quitting. I've never seen him do that, but it's he's got a long road ahead of him in this one. So
yeah, it doesn't really matter. I think that Carson Wentz, if he even if he had a broken leg, he's going to be like, "No, I can go, coach.
I can go hop out there. Tape it up. Just tape it up.
Tape it up."
That's going to be an exciting weekend to watch.
Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. Sammy and Tommy had picked their teams for week 5 for the NFL season.
Yep. Now we get to come back on what next week and see exactly how we did. We probably got them all wrong. That'd just be funny. Or it's like, yeah, we just missed the mark on these entirely.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun. That.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in and hit that subscribe button.
Yep.